Hello friends, welcome back to Picturesology. In today's video we will talk about Sun in the 12th house or in the sign of Virgo for a Libra Ascendant horoscope. So the rising sign is Libra, and when that happens, the Leo sign, which is the sign owned by Sun, becomes the 11th house of the horoscope. So in this case, the 11th house Lord is placed in the 12th house. Now we know that Sun represents the soul of the person, or it represents the true self of an individual. So any placement of Sun in a horoscope is quite significant in itself. Now what's interesting is 12th house is generally considered a trick house, or a house which has a lot of negative connotations. Generally it is related to expenses of the person, where the person spends his money as well as the life energy, the life force. And it is also the house of pleasures, especially the sensual pleasures, the sexual pleasures. So this makes this placement of Sun very interesting. It imparts some really good qualities if Sun is not afflicted, and at the same time there are few areas which need special care because of this. So in next few minutes we will look into all of this. So I'm going to wait for 5 seconds. So let's begin with our analysis, but before we begin with our analysis, we know that one placement of a planet, just one placement here, affects many areas of horoscope. So in this case, because Sun is placed in 12th house areas will be impacted. Sun is Lord of 11th house, which is the house of gains and friends, so those areas of life will have to be looked at. Similarly, Sun will have an aspect on the 6th house from the 12th, so 6th house related things like legal troubles, relationship with your maternal aunts and uncles, debts, the kind of money you owe to people, the kind of diseases which can affect your body, etc. And also we are looking at Sun, so we'll have to look at how it affects your father or father-like figures or elders in the family, or what does it show about your characteristic, your internal core, which you can call as ego or soul also. And Sun is represented or responsible for your fame, how famous you will be, how well known you will be around the world. That is in many sense determined by the position of Sun. So we will look at how all these areas of your life could be impacted by this one placement. So let's see, Sun, which is the Lord of the 11th house, which is the house of gains, is in 12th house, which is the house of expense. So what it says is, these are the people who love to spend money. They love to spend money on their friends, love to spend on friends and acquaintance, because 11th house is house of your gains as well as house of your social circle. And Sun is a planet which loves show off. So what they do really is, they wouldn't mind spending money, but they want that money to be recognized. They want people to see that they are spending money. So they love a show off kind of thing. And it could be a good thing if the Sun is not afflicted. So many great personalities, many world famous personalities have this kind of combination, because they have carefully cultivated their image. So for an example, just yesterday was the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, a world-known figure. He has Sun in the 12th house with Libra Ascendant. So these are people, either they themselves or others will spend money to cultivate an image of theirs, and they love it. They love to be, the center of everybody's adulation. They love to be adored. And they won't mind people spending money on them, or they spending money on their own fame or on their friends, as long as it is recognized by the world. So this is one of the biggest personality trait which this sun imparts in a person's life. But they need to be careful, not to overspend money, because if sun is afflicted in this case, they can end up overspending money. And many times, if the affliction is pretty strong and the horoscope is otherwise weak, person can even face some kind of poverty or penury because of their excessive indulgence or excessive expenditure habit. Now, sun represents your father. In position of sun along with the 9th house or 9th house lord can tell you what kind of relationship you are going to have with your father. So sun here in the 12th house gives a little friction in your relationship with the father. Now for that again, sun has to be afflicted. If say this sun is fortified with a good aspect of Jupiter, then this may not be the case. However, generally there is temperamental difference between sun and father, or father and the sun, always when sun is in such a placement. Now sun also shows the kind of legacy or inheritance you might get from your father. Now what this placement says is, people may get some money or legacy from their parents, but they don't use it for their own purpose. They either make a trust and give it to other people, or they simply don't take any money from their parents. So these are the people who are generally known to come ahead in life from their own efforts, without much help, without taking much help from the father side, because either they just don't like it, or even though their fathers help them, they have a strange sense of self-esteem which would make them not take their money and kind of use that money for other purposes rather than their own self. Now let's quickly talk about the aspect of sun on the 6th house. So generally sun is considered a natural malefic planet, and a natural malefic aspect on the 6th house is not that bad. In fact, what it shows is that in legal matters, if you have any court cases, etc., it shows that you would mostly win. It is very difficult for people with this kind of placement to lose court cases unless there is affliction to the sun. So that's just one caveat. In terms of debt, we talked about people with this placement having a great love for fame and being famous and show off. So unless if they can control that tendency of overspending, they would not generally go into debts. In fact, if they give money to others, if they lend money to others, they mostly get it back without much of a problem. Same thing with the enemies. Now sun's aspect on the 6th house sort of tend to give you enemies who are also well known. People you don't fight, or you don't take petty fights. You won't like to fight with weak people, but it also shows that you would generally win over your enemies, either by force or by simple tact. So this is actually pretty good placement when it comes to 6th house matters. And now 6th house also shows your maternal uncle or your maternal family. So this sun also is an indicator that the maternal side of the family, the uncles and aunts and the brothers and sisters of mother, they generally are very well, or they are very well to do in life, and they could be of help to the native also, only if the native wants. because the sun's placement in the 12th house, 12th house is a negative angle. So what it shows is the aspect of sun on the 6th shows that the mother side family is very well to do, but the placement of sun in the 12th shows that the person just don't like to get benefit from them, or even if they try to help him, he doesn't like to take it. More just like how the person doesn't like to take help from father or his family and wants to do everything by himself in life. So friends, we saw a quick analysis of sun in the 12th house for the Libra ascendant. We saw that this could be great placement for being famous, because sun is the lord of 11th house and also the karaka of fame in worldwide name if sun is not afflicted. But at the same time, there are some areas of life which needs special care because of this. I hope you would like this analysis and benefit from it. For other such interpretation of planets in various houses for different ascendant, please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any video. Until we meet next time, have a wonderful and blessed life. Bye bye.